Hello and welcome to the United Stand. It's Sunday Night Live. It's Howell happening as per usual. I've got Ross with me, I've got Flex with me, and we're talking the big one really. Let's not beat around the bush as far as I'm concerned anymore. Lots to talk about as always on the Sunday show, and we really want your interactions. But I'll argue with anybody now, this title is going to Manchester. I cannot see anybody else getting close to us. And I know we said this at the start of last season and both teams fell away. But this is the second international break. We're in October now, and I think the others have dropped too many points. I do think it comes down to Manchester City or Manchester United. Before I get into where we are with that, let's start off with you, Ross. I mean, have you got any? Do you think there is a chance of any other club getting into it, or do you think it is between the United and City?
It's definitely not going to any team in Liverpool. We know that for certain. Other than that, it's going to be Chelsea, but they were so poor against City. So no, it's definitely going to a Manchester club. Both of them look strong. I'm not going to say who I think is going to win it yet, but yeah, it's definitely coming to Manchester. There's no shout for any other club as far as I'm concerned.
Well, we'll hopefully get out of you who you think is going to win it in the next half an hour or so. But Flex, fantastic on the fan cams yesterday. Really good job. Lots of good feedback from United Stand viewers. Really enjoyed it. Again, I mean, it's very early still, but do you feel that it is City or United, or who else do you think could get in the mix?
It's a really difficult one because it's still so early and there's so many tests to come. The thing about Chelsea is for how poor they actually was against City, they're always capable of just going on that solid run. They can just get some form. Hazard starts firing. I don't know how long they're going to be without Morata for, but you know they're capable of doing it. And if we don't pull our fingers out against the top 5 sides, we won't be in any title race. So for me, it's still early days. I think Chelsea are definitely still contenders. I would never write them off this early. I do agree with the Liverpool situation. They're out of it. Tottenham, you always feel that they're never really going to mount a serious challenge. So I do think it's between the two Manchester clubs and Chelsea, to be honest with you.
Well, let me just, I've got something that I'm going to say very honestly in a minute, but let me just go through the next few fixtures for you. So, back after the international break, you've got Manchester United, Liverpool. Tough game for us. City have Stoke at home, so you'd say that's 3 points for them. Then you go into the next one, you've got City at home to Burnley. So, you'd say 3 points to City. We're away to Huddersfield. Hopefully, we win that one. Then the following week, we've got Tottenham at home, whereas City go to West Brom. So, you know, the next 3 games are in City's favour, whereas we're going to face some tests, I think. Then we've got away to Chelsea, when City are home to Arsenal. Again, another easy game for City. Then another international break. So by then, if we're still in touching distance or level, I think, you know, we've got to be becoming very firm favourites because we've got the tougher fixtures. Then after that international break, because we're working towards this game against City, we've got Newcastle ourselves at home, whereas City go to Leicester. Then it's United home to Brighton while City are at Huddersfield. Then it's City home to Southampton and we are away to, let me just get this, I'm trying to work up to this City game, Arsenal. And then City home to West Ham, and then 10th of December we've got City at Old Trafford. I mean, when you look at the next few fixtures, it really does favour Manchester City. But I'm just going to jump out and say this. I've predicted that United are going to win the title, but what I will say, quite honestly, is this. If City played United yesterday, I think City would wipe the floor with us. Come back. What do you think, Ross?
No, I disagree with that. I thought City were very good, but Chelsea were crap. They honestly were terrible. They give them so much space. They couldn't pass the ball out. I know City were closing them down well, but again, there's quite an easy way to defend against that, and that's just to go over the top of them. But they had no outball whatsoever. I thought they were terrible, and I thought that Chelsea team missed the Nemanja Matic in it, and it was so hilarious to watch it from a United point of view, going, there's a certain Serbian in that midfield that they are missing so badly, and it hasn't really been exposed that much this season, but they come against their first test and they got dominated. Look, City were good. They have got to play well for Chelsea to play so poor. I get that, but they were terribly poor, and I think that United City, I can't predict it. It would be a fantastic game. I don't think it'd be anything like as dominant as that. There's no way Jose Mourinho is going to be outfoxed by Pep that badly.
I'll tell you why I say it, and I still think United can win this title, and I think winter will come for City at some point, probably in the winter when Pep can't save himself with an open checkbook. But the next few, if we can stay close to City up until Christmas, I think we might be able to turn the screw. But there's a couple of reasons really, and you were at the game yesterday, Flex. We ran out the game comfortable winners again, but I remember tweeting out when I was doing the watch along that we're losing the midfield again. We were 1-0 up, and for about 20 minutes it felt like, watching it, that we were losing the midfield again, just like we did against Southampton. And that is why, I'm an honest person, and I do think that we can beat City with the right tactics. But that team yesterday, looking at the way City play at the moment, the way we play, our midfield. And I'm not just talking about static Fellaini, because Matic has been brilliant, but more Mkhitaryan really, who went missing. That midfield three would get absolutely slaughtered by Man City at the moment. And I'm not saying they would beat us, but the midfield would get overrun. And then it's all about whether the back four can hold up. And I think that's the problem. I mean, Ross has got a good point there. Just skip the midfield and use the pace up front that we've got. But at the moment, I think we're doing fantastically well to be up there, because I think that midfield is our weak spot for United.
100% agree with you. I mean, we have to be really, really honest. I think it's easy to get misled by all these 4-0s, not conceding goals. I'm telling you now, guys, if we play how we played against Palace after we got that first early goal, City will 100% wipe the floor of us. We were slow. We were off the pace. There was no speed in our passing. The movement was poor. And I was sitting next to a guy, and I said the same thing to him. I said, we need to wake up here. We had the Crystal Palace fans literally right next to us. They were actually growing in confidence. A side that has scored no goals all season, lost all their games. They had a period after we got our goal where we just sat back and we allowed them to come into the games. We were sloppy with our passing. So if you go into playing the better sides like that, which I did say to the guy sitting next to me, we'll 100% get the floor wiped with us. I'm not going to say we've got a problem in midfield because, like I said, we're winning games, but against the better sides, we can't play like that. We can't play like that. We need to be sharper. We need to be quicker. And it isn't just Fellaini, being static. It's across the midfield, even over to the wingers as well, of the three. We just not good enough. Just not good enough. And I think we've had that quite a lot this season, where we just go missing for periods of the game, and then we sort of come alive and take over near the end. But against the top teams, it's not going to be good enough.
I just want to jump in there actually, because again, you were at the game, so you will see things that on a TV screen you can't follow. And I think some United fans are still very loyal to Mkhitaryan, which I am. And I don't want to dig Fellaini out. We know Fellaini's weaknesses are his build-up play and his movement is pretty slow. But for me, against Liverpool, I would take Mkhitaryan out of the team. I'd put Herrera in a midfield three so we don't lose the midfield, and then I would play Rashford, Lukaku, and Rashford, Lukaku, and Martial. And I'd do what Ross said. I'd have a compact back four. I'd have three grafters in the midfield: Matic, Herrera, and Fellaini, unless Pogba's back. And then I'd hit him on the break, soak up the pressure, and hit him on the break. So I'm not digging Fellaini out. I think actually Fellaini, I gave him man of the match yesterday because he scored 2 goals. Funnily enough, in the position I think he should be playing, which is number 10. I don't like him in the midfield, but it's not him, for me, who's the problem. It's Mkhitaryan. He subbed off yesterday against the poor Crystal Palace side, and I think he was hiding behind the stats a bit. I don't feel he's grabbing the opportunity. I know from going to games in the past, and people will never believe me, but people who were at the ground in the past will know. Ryan Giggs used to get a lot of stick at Old Trafford because he'd lose the ball a lot, as brilliant as he was. And you get things in the ground that you don't get in on the TV, that you don't pick up on. So what was the sort of thing that was frustrating the fans yesterday, if anything? And was there any sort of reaction to Mkhitaryan? Or do you think on TV it gave him a missed service and he actually played quite well?
Yeah, to be fair, I didn't really pick up anything in terms of any grunting and stuff from the home fans, because, like I said, I think it's easy to, if you're not really watching the game properly, you're not really seeing these things. We're in a good moment where we're winning games, and a lot of people, can probably say, "Come on, guys, what you moaning about? We're top of the league, etc., etc." But football's a lot bigger than that. You got to look at the bigger picture. There wasn't anything in particular from other players. I did see that Mkhitaryan just wasn't good enough on the ball. He did lose possession quite a lot, He got pushed off the ball a couple of times, and we just needed more. He had a few chances to play some key passes, and he allowed them to be intercepted. The quality just wasn't on the pass, and for such a good passer of the ball, you expect that bit of consistency. Another player that I did speak about, especially on the fan cams, is Lukaku. I was watching him throughout the game, like even when we don't have the ball, and I am kind of looking at him thinking, Rom, I think I need a bit more. You know, it's okay against Crystal Palace at home. You still get your goal, but again, against the top sides, it really isn't going to be good enough. And I hate to sound like the doom and gloom, but it's the truth. It's not going to be good enough.
No. There's a contribution here from Abanaf Shori. He says, I think we need midfield three of Matic, Herrera and Pogba against City. And we need to sort our left-back and second centre-back out and a front three of Rashford, Martial and Lukaku. Then we can easily beat City. Look, I want to talk about that a bit, Ross, because I'm not saying City will beat United. I think some people are taking that the wrong way. What I'm saying is if you compare the team yesterday to, or even Southampton as well, because we all watch United and, you know, like Flex says, you can fall into this trap of, oh, we're winning 4-0, so everything's rosy in the garden. But no, I think based on what City did yesterday, that was quite impressive to go to Chelsea as bad as they were. And based on our performance yesterday, I think, again, 4-0, we deserved it. I'm not saying we didn't deserve it, but there was periods of the game, like Southampton, when we lost the midfield, and that is a concern against City, who were a very good midfield team. If those two teams played each other yesterday, I think City come out on top. But I think when it is Mourinho versus Pep, and Mourinho knows it's coming, I don't think he'd set up like that anyway. They've had quite... the press built it up when City got Mourinho... so, they wish. When we got Mourinho and City got Pep. They've built it up. But there's always been... it's been on the simmer down, really. Lots of friendship. I predict that this is a season that United would comfortably run away with the title if it was the last 2 years. I don't think there was much competition for Chelsea or for Leicester. But I think it's going to be a very hard title to win this year. And I just wonder, I don't know what you think, how is Mourinho going to counter what Pep's got? Because Pep has had an open checkbook in the summer. Mourinho didn't get the players he wanted. Pep did. An abundance of attacking talents. Building on a team that has won the title in the last 3 years. How do you think Mourinho is going to approach this Pep thing? Is it in Mourinho's interest to keep it like Pep wants it to be? Very professional, they get on with each other? Or can you see Mourinho starting to sort of dig him out and start a war of the war of words?
Yeah, I think we're going to get that. We're going to get what we thought. I said it earlier. We're going to get the title race that we thought we had last season, and we probably will get Mourinho Pep. You won't get it before the game, absolutely not. But you can guarantee if one of them loses, they're going to be bitter, and the winner's going to be smug, and then it's going to ignite it all again. And I'll be happy to see that, to be honest, because I do like a managerial rivalry. I loved Fergie's rivalries with Wenger and such. The whole City beating us thing, like, you know, all right, you can say that, yeah, if we played like we did yesterday, City would beat us. We wouldn't play like we did yesterday against Man City. It wouldn't happen. I don't think the same personnel would be on the pitch either, to be honest. I think you'll go a little bit more conservative, and we wouldn't have two wing backs as such. We'll probably have a Blind at left back as opposed to Ashley Young. But I think, look, they're a fantastic footballing side. But I think that they are so one-dimensional, and for for any decent coach who has the personnel and the thought process to do it, you can counter what Pep does because you know how he's going to line up and you know how he's going to play. The thing that excites me about Jose Mourinho's Manchester United is we have all sorts of different personnel, all sorts of different ways of playing, and I just feel like I'm not saying that we're going to win. I just feel like it's not going to be so clear-cut as City are going to beat us because they're playing better, because we have the personnel. Like you say, you know, we could go over the top. And I agree. Herrera, Matic, Fellaini for me. Pogba won't be fit. I really don't think he will. Maybe not fit enough anyway. And that's the way to go for me. And set pieces, they're dodgy centre-backs. Anything can happen. Absolutely anything. But I would not play Mkhitaryan because I agree he is so poor and he loses the ball so often.
I've just wrote that down. Fellaini, Liverpool. I really want to spend a couple of minutes talking about that in a bit because I've got a theory on that might upset a few people, but we'll see. Yeah, I do agree with what Ross was saying there about when we do play City and they are a bit one-dimensional. And it's one thing that I mean, I personally feel that Mourinho's up against it this season, which again we'll speak about in a minute. But I do. I think Pep's had everything, and I think Mourinho hasn't. And I think we're doing fantastically well. But one thing I do want to say about Mourinho is we saw it on Wednesday night against Moscow. Totally different formation, and we played totally differently. We've seen it yesterday. We go back to the formation he's used in the Premier League. We also know we're probably going to play a 4-3-3 with 3 proper midfielders as well. So that's 3 formations that United are going to use. Whereas from what I've seen of City, very one-dimensional, like in the way they play. You know, they play a certain way. They like to pass it. They like to press. It's the Pep way. It's down to the rest of the Premier League, as far as I'm concerned, Flex, as to whether they can figure that out. Because I don't waste time watching Liverpool now. I know they're going to drop points because they've got no plan B. I don't really think City have either. But it's whether others can deal with it, really. And if they do, that is when I think City will start to drop points.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with the City game, make no mistake about it, Jose Mourinho will have a plan. He's a tactician. Like you said, against Moscow, we played completely differently. He will pay respect to his opponents, and he will have a plan for De Bruyne. He will have a plan for whether it's Aguero or Jesus up front. He will have a plan for pretty much everything. It will be a chess match when we play him. That's what it would be. From Mourinho's side, from Pep's side, we know what he's like. It's just all about attack. Simple as that. We will outscore our opponents. We will hit them on the counter, and we will score more than them. That's his philosophy. So I do think once people, I mean, City done this last season. Let's not forget this. They won, what was it, like the first 10 games on the bounce. Everyone said they're going to run away with it. And what happens is a team gets a result against them in a certain way, and other teams start to see, oh well, that worked actually. How can we actually play against City? And then City found themselves in a little tough period there. So the same thing can happen again. I think once one team beats them or works out how to take some points off them, it does open it up for other teams to kind of see that. But in terms of us playing against them, we can't afford to have any passengers. We might not play as expansive as we has been, but make no mistakes, Mourinho will have the players well drilled. He'll be telling certain players that they need to do certain things at certain times, and he will have a plan. He will have a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C, because that's just the type of manager that he is.
Kevin Ashford, good to see Kev on the live comments. In fact, Kev, get yourself down to see Flex next time we're up at Old Trafford and get yourself in a fan cam, it'd be nice. He says, if anyone knows how to set up tactically against the Guardiola team, it's Mourinho. I think we're all in agreement there. I think like what Ross said, it's down to the other managers in the Premier League. Can we trust them to do that? Because it can be done. You need to be very patient, you need to be very compact, and I think you need to have players on the break as well. And there was another good comment here from Mohamed Youssef, who says, man-to-man, Herrera on De Bruyne, Fellaini on Silva. I don't like that. I don't like that second statement. Fellaini on Silva. I don't think Fellaini can man-to-man somebody who's half his size and very quick with the ball. I don't think
Matic Silva, innit?
Yeah, Matic Silva. Fellaini's not a man. Look, Fellaini did very well yesterday. I like Fellaini coming off the bench, 20 minutes to go, and stick him in the opposition's box, which funnily is why he was my man of the match yesterday. He was brilliant in what he did in the opposition's box. I didn't think he was so good in the midfield. I never do. But he's not a man-to-man marker, and like Ross just jumped in, Matic, yes. Herrera, yes. And I think that's very important, because we saw that at Chelsea, against Chelsea in April, when Herrera just man-to-man marked Hazard. I've not seen that done in years, and Mourinho won't. This is the thing. I mean, let's talk about this Liverpool thing a minute, because I personally feel that if we definitely want to beat Liverpool, and I think we can do anyway, there's a real blueprint to do it, and it works the same against City. You can do it against Chelsea with Hazard. You can do it against Liverpool with Coutinho. You can do it against City with De Bruyne or Silva. Really, just do a man-to-man. Use Herrera for it, man-to-man. Basically, your back four and your midfield three, which can't have Mkhitaryan in it. It's got to be 3 proper midfielders for me, Ross. Whether it's Fellaini, Matic, Herrera or Pogba comes in. It's got to be 3 proper midfielders, a good back four, and then up. They just do the defensive job. They break the play, and what they've got to look to do is then get Rashford, Lingard, Lukaku, or hopefully Martial, and let them 3 do the attacking on the break. That is the blueprint to beat Liverpool and any team, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting actually, because we've had at the start of the season we've seen very little of Herrera, and all of a sudden he's becoming our most important player again, and it's against these bigger teams. I think you can afford the luxury of not having Herrera in the team when you're playing mediocre teams, because he's not really needed. You don't need to man mark a team or defend against a team that's just going to sit back. But when these teams are going to come at us, Herrera becomes so important. And you're right, there's an absolute blueprint to beating Liverpool, and it's not. You can get it confused, because the way to beat Liverpool is to sit back and counter them, because if they're not countering you, they have absolutely nothing. But you can't get it confused with playing defensively. And it's a very fine line, because you've got to attack and you've got to leave men forward. The problem is, last season when we did that, we tried to do that tactic, our wingers played as wing backs, and that's wrong. You have to sit back, but the wingers have to stay forward, and that's we've spoken about it a lot. If it is Martial, Rashford, I don't think it will be, but it's the way to do it. If you leave just the front three of Martial, Rashford, and Lukaku, and just have all the other men behind the ball, we will absolutely tear them apart.
Yeah, I think there's a blueprint to it. I just want to, something was in my head from before as well. I just want to say, just a real balance. That's what we're looking for tonight. We're not being negative. We're not being overly positive. The United stands about balance, a balance in the force and all that stuff. But no, it is about balance. It's about honesty. I just want to say, I think Ashley Young's been a revelation. I know I called him an oxygen thief, and I'll always own up to it at least. But what I meant is, I don't think Ashley Young's been that good for the last couple of years, and he always gets injured when there's a transfer window. But he has been a breath of fresh air, and I'll say it when I'm wrong. He's been fantastic, and he's the one player we've got who can put a cross into the box. And it's so telling that I think the last 4 or 5 Premier League goals have all been crosses from the left, which is amazing, because we've always been a right-sided team. And it's great that we are getting balance in the United side. But I do want to just say about Ashley Young yesterday, fantastic offensively, rubbish defensively. Townsend had him on toast so many times, and that's a balanced opinion that I think we tried to get on the United stand. Don't be blinded by, oh, Ashley Young's fantastic. He's the new Benjamin Button. He's getting younger, not older. He is brilliant. He's got to play, because offensively he's brilliant, but defensively I thought he was pretty poor yesterday. Flex, this is a difficult one. I know what I think. Ross has got a little bit of time to think about it. I'm going to pop you on the spot here. Liverpool in a couple of weeks. Looking at those fixtures that City have between now and playing us, I think City are going to win most of those games. So we've got Chelsea, Tottenham, Liverpool to come very, very soon. So we're going to have to, draws aren't good enough. We're going to have to try and win games to stay with City. Would you start Fellaini against Liverpool? And if so, why would you or why wouldn't you?
I would start him, actually, in that 3-man midfield with Matic and Herrera. In the moment that he's in, obviously confidence is a big thing. It's a massive thing. And when you're confident and you're playing well, you're putting good numbers on the board and you're in a good moment, sometimes it's important that you play. As long as he's deployed right in that game, Fellaini can actually be really instrumental in a positive result there. When we go on that inside left channel, we can see him peel out to it from the midfield. He brings the ball down. He can bring people into play. He's awkward, set pieces, etc. So no, I definitely would start him. And to be honest, if you're being completely honest, he's earned that chance. To be honest with you, with the performances he's been putting in, and with Pogba injured, I think there's not many ahead of him. You're not just going to stick Carrick in there. Hasn't played much all season. Obviously, McTominay you're not going to put in. So definitely Herrera, Matic, and Fellaini, and I think we will see that.
We've had a super chat from Jose Mourinho. I doubt it's the real one, although he has put the little thing above the E. Maybe it is. Thanks for the contribution, Jose. He says, in normal conditions, we are the rightful champions, and in abnormal conditions, we'll still be champions. I like this channel almost as much as Fellaini. I also think I should buy a house in Manchester. Yeah, you definitely should. Stop living in a hotel. But Ross, your thoughts? Should Fellaini start against Liverpool, even if Pogba's fit?
If Pogba's fit, no. Absolutely
All
not.
right, let's take... he is going to start, isn't he?
Do you know what? I've got a really funny feeling that he won't. And the reason is I don't think Jose would drop Mkhitaryan. Because the same... it's a really difficult one. It's a really difficult question. But for me, Fellaini's earned his start. Yes, I think he's been brilliant. Yes, I think he's going to play lots more games against teams like... like Stokes and Crystal Palace. I just think against the bigger team, Herrera is needed more. And I think we'll play exactly the same team, but play Herrera. And let's not forget, they pose very little threat from attacking crosses and high balls and headers. So that part of Fellaini's game defensively won't be needed. Yes, he brings a little bit offensively, but we've got big players. We've got Lukaku. So I really think he will drop him for that game and play Herrera. And because Mourinho is very partial to dropping players in form. He's been dropping Martial all season. He's in the bloody form of his life. And I kind of agree with it. And I'd give Mkhitaryan that one chance because he does, as poor as he is, he tends to find space. And there is an art to doing that. You don't just come across it. You have to hunt for it, and he gets it.
Yeah, to be honest, it might shock people. I would play Fellaini against Liverpool for the simple reason. I think Ross's point's brilliant there about there's no threat from Liverpool, especially in their attacking sense with height. There is no threat. I mean, who've they got? Who's got height? Salah, Firmino's Salah's not tall, by the way. Coutinho, Mane will be back. Firmino's not particularly tall either. They're not a threat in height at all. But that's exactly why I would play Fellaini, because he's just a handful if we get corners. But how are we going to set up? If we're going to park the bus and hit them on the break, I wouldn't play Fellaini. If we're going to actually try and be a little bit toe-to-toe with them, I would play Fellaini because he can bully them in the midfield, and from set pieces, he's a nightmare, as is Lukaku, as is Matic. I think height could be massively key against Liverpool, but they don't, I mean, Herrera's got to play. Herrera's got to play because he suits the Liverpool game, as Ross said, perfectly, because he's quick, tenacious, he'll break into the tackle, he's got a footballing brain, so he knows little triangles and stuff. Being Spanish, he knows what Liverpool are going to try and do. But I won't move away from what I've always said about Fellaini. He should not start every week. If we start him every week, we won't win the title. And I've said it for years, and I'll say it again. We won't win the title if we play Fellaini every week. So you can be on the bandwagon, you can say he's unsung hero, and you can believe that, and that's up to you. But I will not move away from the fact that if he plays 38 games this season and he's first choice, we won't win the title. But I don't think he is anyway. I think when Pogba comes back, Fellaini goes back on the bench, and I'm more than happy with that. I like seeing Fellaini in the opposition's penalty box. I don't like seeing him anywhere near ours. But I would play him against Liverpool. I think he's like everybody says, he certainly deserves it. You can't score 2 goals and get dropped. It's a bit unfair. Mkhitaryan's the one who would come out for me. Flex, second international break, joint top of the league. United so far. How do you think we're doing? Are you happy with? I mean, obviously you're happy with it, but I mean, United. Do you think we're overachieving? We are where we should be. I know you've sort of got to compare it a little bit to the summer, but how are you feeling about United at the moment?
Yeah, we're doing well. I mean, already this season, we've already fixed a lot of the problems as having last year already, so, and that's scoring goals, putting the ball in the back of the net, and obviously conceding the odd silly goal here and there, and obviously where we were drawing against teams last year and couldn't put them away, we've got that ruthless streak in us so far anyway with the teams we've played, and obviously we're better off points wise than we were this time last year. So from that, yeah, we're obviously doing better. What I'm just refusing to sort of get wrapped up in, like I said earlier, and I've been saying for the last couple of weeks, is that yes, we're getting the results, but we still have not been tested. Yes, you can only play what's in front of you and do the job that's in front of you. And I agree with that. But it all comes down to, after this international break, Liverpool away, what are we saying? How are we gonna come out of that game? Because if we go and lose in a toothless performance and get outfoxed or outdone or make some defensive mistakes like we did against Stoke, and end up getting a bad result, then does it show we've come any further? This is where it really matters for me. Yes, we're in a very good position, a much better position than last year, but all the toughest tests are yet to come. Again, injuries haven't really struck us massively until obviously recently Pogba. Last year we had a bad run of injuries throughout the team. How are we going to deal with that? How are we going to deal when we're almost certainly going to get out of? We will get out of the Champions League group stages when we start going away to the tough teams in Europe again, back on the big stage. How are we going to deal with coming back from the midweek tough games and playing in the league? There's so many questions more that need to be answered. So overall, yes, we are doing better than last season, so you have to be upbeat about that. We look good in patches. I'm still concerned that there's been far too many occasions for me this season where I've watched us start well, middle period poor, ending great. That's not going to win you a Premier League title. That's not going to win you a Premier League title. The consistency does need to be better. We can't just hype ourselves up because we've got these high score lines everyone's scoring, and we've got like 7, 8 different goal scorers, and everything's rosy against, let's face it, some of the poorer sides. So there's a lot of work to still be done, but we're going in the right direction. That's how I'd sum it up. We're going in the right direction.
Yeah, good points. And I love the fact that people are honest, because I know there were people out there saying, oh, negative. I think it's realist, and everyone's got a real opinion in them. Tyrone Williams says, it feels like the international break has come at the wrong time. We have momentum. I think that's a very good point. I wish there wasn't an international break, because Liverpool are primed to play. I'd love to be playing Liverpool next weekend, but suffice to say we have an international break, and that's it. Ben17 says, I think Jose's line about Pogba, and I think he will be back. I mean, that's an interesting point as well, Ben. Phil Jones wasn't playing yesterday, according to Jose. Pogba, anybody who says he's not playing or he is playing is a liar. We don't know. He could just turn up. So Andrew Thompson says, can't be 100% with the squad, really needing another window. That's a good point, which I want to delve into in a minute. And Snap says, I think Flex is the Roy Keane of the United stand. I don't know what he means by that. It could be the great leader of Roy Keane.
Half-talking, the realist, doesn't give Man United any props.
Or he could mean that. But look, Ross, at the end of the day, I think you're going to have to get a lot of Guinness in. Like, Ross has been drinking a pint of Guinness on match day, or probably a few, and it's been a great superstition so far. And you can only beat what's in front of you. And I totally disagree with all these people who say, oh, we've been lucky. You're not lucky to continually beat teams 4-0. Last year, that would have been 0-0. And we beat teams in front of us. We can only do that. But I do think you're going to need a job lot of Guinness in, Ross, because we are, and I'm very excited by it, but October, City are probably going to win their next 4 games. I really do. Looking at it, they're probably going to win them. In those 4 games, we've got Liverpool away, Chelsea away, Spurs at home. They are very. If we're still level with City next international break in November, then I'm not going to say I'll be stunned. I'll be very excited, because they are massive, massive tests. And I do agree with those people who say we've not been lucky. We've not had it easy. We've just beaten what's in front of us, and I think it's allowed us to grow as a team and build confidence, which is very important. But you need to get a big load of Guinness in. But seriously, how do you feel about the month ahead, and what do you think is realistic with this team, considering we are playing Spurs, Chelsea and Liverpool, from what you've seen so far?
Mate, all I feel is absolute excitement. I can't wait for these big games, and going into it with this confidence as well, seeing how the team play. I think realistically, we could win all of them games quite easily. We could also lose them all. You don't really know yet. That's the thing. And even if you are the best team in the world, even if you're Real Madrid, you could still lose all them games, and you can still win them. It depends on what happens over 90 minutes. There's loads of factors. There's referees to consider. So we just have to sort of, watch and hope, really. Would have still been in the FA Cup even now if the ref hadn't blown us against Chelsea. So there's so many factors, and it doesn't always depend on how the team play, and that's unfortunate. The honest opinion is, if we do win all them games, we're winning the league. Hands down, I think that would be it for me. You pass all them tests, knowing that City have to still have the same test. No, they beat Chelsea, but I think that would be it for me. And based on, I think if you'd have asked any United fan at the start of the season, told them where we are now, I think there'd have been some that wouldn't have been able to believe you. And it would have been, Matic is the best midfielder in the league, Lukaku's scoring goals for absolute fun, we're smashing teams 4-0, and we're undefeated in the Champions League. I know the fixtures were easy, but given what we did last season, it's still an unreal improvement on where we were last season. And the fact that we're even talking about a title is all a lot of United fans ever wanted this season. A lot of fans would have taken a title chase, not even winning it, but just to be in with a shout. And we're looking like we're already in that phase, which is fantastic to see. So I'm pleased already, and I can't help but just look forward to these games against Tottenham, Liverpool, etc., regardless of the result. It's just nice going into its favourites.
I know, and I tell you what, that's when the real United fan comes out, because it's the biggest load of bollocks. In the summer, we all said, I'll just be happy if we can challenge for a title. Are we all happy now? No, because this is what being a winner is all about, and this is what Mourinho's done very well. He's getting us back to what we were like under Sir Alex Ferguson. Are we happy to be title contenders with City and lose out? Are we bollocks? Stokes. We want to win it, and that's the problem. We now want to win it, and you know what? I think United can win it. I said it in the summer. Mourinho always wins it in the first 2 years. I think the big problem is that City have been very lucky and have surprised me. They shouldn't have the points they've got, for one, but luck is on their side. And I've got to say that. I do call him Pep Guardiola, and I do think he's a fraud because he hides behind a big checkbook, or Messi. But they have got more points than I expected, and partially due to luck. I mean, look, we've not had any luck this year, but I saw City away to Bournemouth. The referee got them 2 points there. They never should have won that game. I saw them home to Liverpool. Liverpool were on top of them. Mane got sent off, probably rightly, but it swung it in City's favour massively. And I watched the game last night, and Morata got injured in the first half, their best striker. So they are getting lucky things. The Mane thing, yes, it was a red card for me, but it swung the game in their favour. They're playing 10 men for over an hour. Morata goes off, Chelsea's best player, it swings in their favour. So it is, and that Bournemouth game, it swings in their favour. So they are getting a lot of luck as well. And they are doing slightly better than I thought. So it's going to be an interesting one. And what I do want to say as well is, I think this start to the season has been great. A load of United fans looked at it and went, oh, up until Liverpool we should win every game. Which again, I think is brilliant, because when you look at the last 4 years, when have we ever won all those games like that? But I like the fact that United fans are getting into that mentality, because that's where we've been for 20 years under Sir Alex Ferguson, that mentality. We should win all those. It's great. And again, another tick in the box for Mourinho, because we haven't done that for 4 years, but fans now expect us to do it. So the standards and expectations are going up. But I'm still furious that we dropped 2 points to Stoke. We should be 2 points clear. I mean, we should have beaten Stoke. So we should have a 100% record, but that's greed. Again, I'm dropping a difficult one on Flex here because Ross is going to have time to think about it. But I'll tell you what, I'll give Flex a few seconds on this. What I'm going to ask everybody, and Flex and Ross, is honestly, what are your biggest concerns about Manchester United this season that you feel could cost us winning the title? I know it's a weird question, but on the United stand, we do look for that sort of honesty, reality, not playing for likes. Let's be real about it. What are your honest concerns, lads, that you think will or could derail United this year? And just to give you a few seconds to think about it. So for me, it's Mourinho's persistence to use certain players over others. Not naming any names, but Fellaini. Yeah, Fellaini. Rashford over Martial. And I love Rashford. I do love Rashford over Martial. And there's somebody else, Mkhitaryan. I think that I'd love to see Mata playing there, and he never does it. I'd love to see that. So I think Mourinho does nothing wrong for me. I love Mourinho, as everyone knows, but that worries me. And then something that's totally out of his hands, and I won't shut up about it. Squad depth. He didn't get the players he wanted in the summer, and I worry that our season could fall apart because of that. But that's my two things. Flex, your thoughts?
Firstly, a lot of people are saying it, I can see in the live chat there, but injuries. If we lose Lukaku, who is in rich vein of form, I think we'll struggle massively. If we lose our centre-back pairing, which seems to be Bailly and Jones at the minute, we could be in trouble. I know De Gea very rarely gets injured, but again, if we lost him, so definitely injuries to big players. And secondly, not a lot of people have spoke about it, but I actually kind of think maybe Zlatan coming back could almost be could be detrimental to us. I mean, last year, as you know, he scored 28 goals all competitions, fantastic. And there was a couple of games. I remember Palace away last year. It's 1-1, was tight. He scores from a tight angle, left-footed shot. We win the game. Southampton in the cup final, we win the game, and Zlatan was good at doing that. But he was detrimental to a lot of our play. The only thing that has changed this year, people are saying, is that we've got pace. Well, hang on a minute. It's the same pace that we had last year. We had Martial and Rashford last year. The difference was Zlatan, in my opinion. It's really hard. I don't want to sound like I'm knocking him. He's a phenomenal player. He's done great things. But in terms of the way we play, we are much better suited to Lukaku. And I worry that once, Zlatan literally played every minute of every game last year. Even when he's playing poorly, he would never be subbed. He would never not start games. He would never be, sort of dropped for bad performances because he's Zlatan, let's face it. I think Mourinho is very good at knowing what players to challenge in terms of, personalities. Mkhitaryan, Martial, etc. He challenged those players. Luke Shaw, I don't think he would dare start saying, I question whether Zlatan's got the head for it, because, you know, the guy's a legend and he is Zlatan, as he says. So I do worry that when he comes back, you know, Zlatan's not going to want to be sitting on the bench. So I do worry that he might just change up what we're doing at the minute, and that could hurt us.
I'll tell you what, I thought my points were good. I think that's an absolute cracker, to be honest. It is such a... I like Zlatan. I really do like Zlatan, as people will know. I used to do Zlatan watch before we even bought him in that summer in the Euros. I really do like him, but where he fits into the team is a concern because of that pace issue. So yeah, I'd agree with that. Ross, what were yours?
They were pretty much them two, to be honest. Injuries is the be all and end all for me, and that you win a title on injuries regardless of who you are. Even when Leicester won it, I don't think they had an injury all season. And you could be the best team in the world, you get 11 injuries to your best 11, you're not going to win anything. And for me, the one player you missed out, Flex, on your injury list name is Matic. If we lost Matic, we would be absolutely screwed. And I can't believe I'm saying that, because I wasn't anti-Matic, but again, I would have probably, if you'd have given me the £50 million, would have brought someone completely different who plays in the French league, coincidentally. But it's worked out well, and
Memphis.
It is going to... No, I'd have brought Fabinho. Okay. Yeah, it's going to be injuries, and we've been pretty unlucky for the last 5-6 years with injuries, but hopefully it'll change. Pogba's one was unfortunate, and the other thing I'll quickly say is you need luck as well, because even in Fergie's time, he always had a little bit of the rub of the green. We were one of the lucky teams, and we've lost that. It seems that all the referees are against us. We always used to have a little bit of favour with them. It'd be nice to just get a little bit of luck from referees this season, because it does have an effect on the way teams perform. I remember when Arsenal did their Invincibles run. That was the luckiest run of games I've ever seen in my life. The amount of 1-1 draws that they scraped from that was a joke, and that's what it comes down to at the end of the day.
No, I think you're right. And as I said, you know, City already, we're only in October, and they have had 3 big bits of luck. Bournemouth, they never should have won that in stoppage time. Mane red card in a big game. You know, you're playing 10 men and then big head-to-heads, 3 points on a play. And then Morata, bang on form, goes off in the first half. So they've had a lot of luck, and I agree. United aren't lucky at the moment. Maybe the scores have flattered the performance in some ways, but they haven't, because we've scored 4 goals. None of them have been lucky goals. You can look at the game and say, well, we didn't do well in the midfield, but we still scored 4 goals. So we've not had that luck yet. Let's have a look at what some people are saying in the live comments. The number 10 role is Nicholas Myers' concerns. Ajani says, I hate to see Fellaini in my team. OG the Bamboozler, injuries and depth in certain positions. George Kyle says striker, number 10, wingers, fullbacks. Injuries is coming up a lot, as Flex and Ross said as well. Jose makes tactical decisions, says Alan. And goalkeepers could start playing... I suppose it's a concern from Narayan. He says goalkeepers could start playing world class against us again. I think the problem last year is we weren't clinical enough. We were, you know, you can finish and a goalkeeper's never going to save it, or you can give a goalkeeper a chance to save it. And I think last year we gave goalkeepers chances to make saves, and that's where we went wrong.
You could also say Lukaku's inevitable league goal drought, because he always has a goal drought. Every season I've seen him play, he has about 8 or 9 games where he doesn't score, and I think that's going to happen at some point, and that's when we'll start seeing Zlatan, which again, like Flex was saying, I think will be a problem.
We've had a couple of... I think the Zlatan thing is fantastic, and at some point we're going to have to do a show on it, because I think it's such a hot topic. I think we'll do it. I think we'll probably do it. Let's see when we can do it. I'll speak to the lads and see when they're free. I think we'll probably do it maybe Wednesday night or something like that. We've got international break, we may as well do it. I think it's a great topic. We'll do it for an hour and everyone can join us, because I think it's such a big topic, and it divides, because I love Zlatan, but I love Manchester United more. I said it last year. Why was he taking free kicks? Why was he always on the pitch? It was like it was Zlatan United and not Manchester United, and Mourinho wouldn't pull him into line. And I do love Zlatan, but this concerns me, because the team's so good in its movement and pace without him. Where does he fit in? I think we'll have to do a show on it. But Super chats that I've missed. Abanaf Shari says, and thank you Abanaf, he says, Mark, when will Zlatan come back? Because I think he could be really important against City. We could play Zlatan as a centre attacking midfielder. God, well, it's all about opinion. And Abanaf says, I'm sorry, but Zlatan as a centre attacking midfielder or a second striker would be amazing, as he was for PSG. Our main concern should be left back and second centre back. You see, it's already starting. Thanks for the contributions. And David Carey says, hi Mark, United have to start with Herrera against Liverpool. The only threat is down United's left, so who would you have as left back, and could 3-5-2 work? Well, Ross has already said it. Daley Blind as a defensive left back is probably better, but considering we're playing Salah, and we will be doing shows on the Liverpool thing over the international break as well, their width is important. Now Valencia can deal with Mane, but who's going to deal with Salah is a great point from David. I don't know how we're going to conquer that, but just want to say as well, please do drop a like on the video. Lots of people watching. Sunday Night Live is obviously live every Sunday at 8 o'clock on the United Stand. It was our first ever show. If you are new, make sure you click that subscribe button and put your notifications on with the bell, because tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, it's the Skype show where you Skype in and have your say. Totally unscripted, you can call in and have your say. And also, tomorrow in the day, just keep an eye out, get your notifications on, because we've got a video going up. It's a blast from the past that not many of you will see, but it's back on the United Stand. It's one of my favourite shows, and that's all I'm going to say. But yeah, I really do enjoy it, and it's back, it's filmed, it's canned, and it will be up tomorrow at about 3 o'clock, so really looking forward to that. Mike Rollins, no, we're not going to touch on Zlatan because we'll do a show on it, so I just want to take a couple of questions from people. I'll tell you what, let's cover that. It's a decent one, Flex. Ross has sort of touched on it, and I don't know whether he wants to change his mind. We'll go back to him, but we know that Valencia's quick. He can deal with Salah, Mane. Who would you play against Salah? Because he is quick, he is skillful. Daley Blind isn't, but Ashley Young got torn apart by Townsend, and Darmian, is he a choice? That is probably an area of weakness against Liverpool that we're going to have to address.
Yeah, it definitely is, and this is the problem with our left back situation against better teams. Like you know, if you talk about going away Champions League, if we were playing Real Madrid away against Bale, you wouldn't want any of those guys left back against him. It doesn't fill you with confidence. For me, I think a bit of a forgotten man is Darmian, in my opinion. He had, I think, last season he put in some really good performances at left back. I think he was quite solid as well. And going forward, he wasn't too bad. Not as good on the ball, passing wise, and with the brain power as well, the way he thinks and reads the games as Blint. But defensively, I'd probably give him a run against Salah, because you're going to need someone who is defensively sound and strong. Strength is not Blint's biggest point. However, reading the game is. So it's a difficult one. I'd be reluctant to go for. I'd be reluctant to go for. I've forgotten his name now. What's his name? Bloody hell, my mind's gone absolutely blank.
Darmian.
That's the one. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I'd be reluctant to go for Darmian just because he hasn't played very much recently. But so for the purposes of that, I would say Blind, but I would prefer Darmian.
Ross, are you going to stick with Blind?
Mate, all day. I'm a massive Daley Blind fan, and the reason why I'd go for it, I agree, Salah would mince him on the pace. I just think Darmian, positionally, he's great at defending players, and that's tackling and getting stuck in. Positionally, I think he's awful. And I think Daley Blind, positionally, with his football brain, as you said, Flex, he's fantastic. And I think against people like Salah, you need to never be caught out. You need to give yourself a few yards, give yourself a few yards, and we can get tight. And yeah, it'll be Blind for me. I think he steps up for the big games, and he does. Blind's mistakes are very, very rare, and it's normally against a player who is a physical brute who can outmuscle him. Salah's not physical; he's not going to outmuscle Blind. So for me, it's Magic Man Blind.
It's surprising because, like Mike Rollins says, it's definitely Blind or Darmian, and obviously that's the discussion you two lads have had. But Ashley Young has been so good; he'd obviously be dropped in that scenario. But you know, it's realism. Ashley Young's brilliant; he's been brilliant. But for anybody who watches football or watched the game yesterday, Andros Townsend had him on toast, especially in the first half. He was tearing him apart. Ashley Young, offensively, brilliant. You could even make a statement that, look, I can't see Martial playing against Liverpool as much as I'd like him to. Why not play Blind or whoever at left back and put Ashley Young as the right or left attacker. At least he's quick. But I don't think Mourinho would do that. We never play Young in them positions anymore, which is weird to me. But as a left back, I think Mourinho will go with Young, by the way. But it worries me because defensively he's not all that. For me, the best player is Luke Shaw. He's never going to play because he's not played enough recently. But he is the perfect player. He's the mix of Shaw. I'm sorry. He's the mix of Blind and Young. He's got both. He can go forward and back. He's just not fit enough or trusted to do it, but we'll be building towards that. I mean, there's a couple of great things that have come from the show tonight. The Zlatan thing from Flex, we'll definitely do a show on that in the week as to where Zlatan fits in, because I think it's a show in itself, really good one. And then what Ross said about luck, it just dropped into my head there. You know, we talk about, yeah, we can beat Liverpool, we can beat Spurs, we can beat Chelsea. What about at Anfield in a couple of weeks' time? Dodgy ref sends Fellaini off because he moves his elbow. We're down to 10 men. Those things will happen this season, and this is where luck is very important. You know, we could drop points, not because we play badly, just because we get bad luck. And at the moment, City, as I said, I'll argue with anyone, have had a lot of luck. So, lots of things going their way. Flex, was there anything else you wanted to talk about, pal?
Just want to say a big thank you for all the support for the fan cams. We ran it yesterday for the first time. It was absolutely brilliant. We had some good characters on, a lot of interest. And obviously got some celebs on there as well, so it's been really good. Make sure you follow my United Stand Twitter account. We're gonna have some fun on there. We have some debates and stuff like that. But really looking forward to keeping it up really and getting an even bigger platform to fans to have their say.
Yeah, it was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. The fan cams. I'm open to it. I was always dead against it. I didn't really see the point in doing it, but we're doing it, and I think from what I saw yesterday, that is, I'm converted. I'm converted because, again, as Flex said there, the way he presented it was brilliant. It was about you lot having your say, and you know, I know other people do it, but why are people arguing about that? Whether it's Arsenal, United, or whatever, it's more opportunity for more fans to have their say. So it's a massive, massive positive, and yeah, really enjoyed it. And the great thing, the funniest thing was, we knew the Game of Thrones lad was who it was. But when I got sent the videos, I actually messaged Flex and went, you do realise you've got two celebs. There's one off Hollyoaks. And fair play to Flex, you don't watch Hollyoaks, you didn't have a clue, did you?
No, I didn't. I actually said to him, as I asked him if he wanted to do an interview, he probably thought it was quite rude of me and I should have known who he is, because I did Google him afterwards and saw he was on Strictly. But I did say to him, what's your name, fella? So he probably thought, why doesn't he know who I am? But at the end of the day, it's good to get people like that on there. And long may it continue.
Yeah. I mean, I knew it was straight away, but that's because my wife watches Hollyoaks, so there you go. Ross, sorry, Flex, what is your Twitter? Because we always want to shout that out. Yeah,
it's Flex United Stand, all one. You'll see me on there, guys. Yeah, just give us an ad, and let's get it cracking.
Yeah, if you've not seen the fan cams, by the way, just go into the United Stand. We've got a Game of Thrones legend on there, and a Hollyoaks one as well. So we're catering for everybody already. Follow him at Flex United Stand, and obviously Ross at Has90. Thanks for coming on, Ross. Really good points. You were on fire yesterday on the watch along. Everything you predicted was right, even the Lingard on at number 10.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, no, it was good. It was just one of them predictable games, I think. But I'm on holiday next week, so this will be my last Sunday show for maybe 2 weeks. But I will be back, and yeah, look forward to the Liverpool game when we return.
Yeah. At Has90 for Ross. Good time to go on holiday with the international break. Really, I tell you what, everyone's saying what a great show it was. Make sure you drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Loads going on. Fantastic show, the Sunday show normally is. Live comments really good as per usual, and the guests, we got through some real stuff there. And that's what United Stand is really. It's not... you know, walking down Lollipop Lane with gingerbread houses and pretending everything's great and all that lot. It's what real fan opinion is, you know. We obviously back United, we're 100% behind United, but we're not blinkered. And that's the great thing about what the live comments provides and the guests provide as well. So, yeah, really good. And remember, tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, it is your chance. Skype us in, have your say. If there's things you disagree with, there's things not been said that you want to, that's great. Rodney's back on Tuesday. Some people were on about that. Rodney will be back on Tuesday. We'll get that Zlatan show in. There's a show back tomorrow afternoon going up on the channel. It won't be live, so keep your ears out for that. It's a cracker. I love it. It's going to be back every Monday. And potentially we've got some really good content coming up over the international break as well, which you need to just look. International breaks are rubbish, let's be honest. But the United stand isn't. There's loads going on, loads of shows that we can do that during the normal season we can't do because you've got to be doing previews and that. So it's a great place to be. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you stick with us. Loads going on. And have a good start to the week. Watch out for that video. And then tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, we've got the Skype show. So see you all soon. We're still top of the league, really. And lots to be positive about. Thanks, everyone, for joining us tonight. Cracking show. I'll speak to you all soon. Hello to... Sorry, just before I go. Dave Morrison. Hello to Callum. There you go. Speak to you all soon. Okay, lads, we're done. Thanks for that.
Yeah, no problem.
Excellent.
Good show again. Good show. Good points there.
Yeah, them fan cams are awesome yesterday, Flex. Well done, mate.
Yeah. Do you know what? It went really well. I mean, when we come out of the ground, a lot of people were kind of just walking past.